Under no circumstances should anything from our ancient past be kept hidden from the public. However, the never-before-seen photos and video that I'm going to share with you will prove that we, the general public, have not been shown everything that there is to know. You see, the Great Sphinx of Giza, Egypt has long been subject of debate, with many theories suggesting that there are perhaps secret tunnels and chambers located within and under this mysterious ancient archaeological site. Between legends of a so-called Hall of Records or the modern scientific data which has identified possible chambers that are under and within the Sphinx, and even this notable off-limits passage located at the back end of the monument, which has long generated intense desire by many to know what's down there. You see, this was discovered and excavated in the 1970s by world-renowned Egyptologists Zahi Hawass and Mark Lehner. In fact, real quick, you have to see this short clip about it.
It began with an old worker who remembered a secret tunnel in the Sphinx's rump. They removed a single stone from just to the left of the Sphinx's tail.
And sure enough, we saw this passage going down in and under the Sphinx.
They descended into the shaft.
Of course, we didn't know where it was going to go. And so 3 weeks I spent down in the darkness underneath the Great Sphinx.
We searched everywhere, but there is nothing hidden underneath.
So just to clarify, they spent an entire 3 weeks excavating an empty tunnel. So this is the part where things get weird, because you should know that these still images from the clip you just saw are quite literally the only examples of this tunnel that have been ever made available to the public. And notice that they do not show where that tunnel goes, and in fact, we see nothing more than the entrance of the tunnel itself. But not only that, the original 16-page report on the excavation of this tunnel only includes these pictures and illustrations that you're seeing here. This is it, and half of them are from outside of the Sphinx. But so what? I mean, they assured us that there's nothing down there anyways, right?
We searched everywhere, but there is nothing hidden underneath.
Whoa, wait a second. What was that last part he said?
But there is nothing hidden underneath. Nothing hidden underneath. Underneath.
Nothing hidden underneath. Well, those words are about to become quite interesting, especially the underneath part. Now, I can neither confirm nor deny where these photos or videos I'm about to share with you came from, but I can say with absolute truth that no, this is not me, and no, I did not take any of the photos or videos that you're about to see, nor was I in the country of Egypt when they were taken. However, a few brave and cunning men took great risk to climb down into the back end of the Sphinx at a moment when the overseeing Egyptian authorities were preoccupied. These gentlemen only had a few seconds before they were ultimately caught. However, the photos and short video clips successfully made it out. So, first things first. Let me play the 2 video clips before I show you the photos, as the video clips will set the stage for what the pictures are going to reveal to all of us. Now, real quick, I removed just a few seconds of the clip to conceal this man's identity, but here are the last few seconds.
Please. No.
And as you could probably tell, that is when they were caught. Now, here is the second clip, which is of the second gentleman who was already down in the second tier at the same time as the other man was climbing down, as you just saw.
Okay, so that's a dead end. Here we are under the Sphinx, in one of the forbidden holes.
Now obviously the video was recorded in great haste and doesn't show us a lot. However, there are a few important details that we just learned. But let me first point out that you cannot see the entrance of this tunnel when looking down from the outside of the Sphinx, as it's below the first tier and too far to the left. Another thing we observed is that we never had witnessed where this tunnel goes or what it even looks like within it. But it is indeed a dead end, so when Zahi Hawass said there is nothing underneath, he was apparently telling the truth, at least at this particular location. But this is where things get very interesting, because he did not say anything about there being nothing inside of the Sphinx. And the photos you're going to see next are of a previously unknown tunnel that proceed up and inside of the Sphinx itself. And these images are the first ever of their kind to be seen by the public or even posted to the internet for that matter. In fact, I have waited, and many others, have waited years to see what these photos are about to reveal to us. First, notice this frame here, which is from the last few moments of the prior clip. You see that? This is a second tunnel that goes up and in and is facing towards the front of the Sphinx, or to the east. This is something you cannot see from the outside of the Sphinx either, as it is too high and too far in to be observed even if you were peeking your head in from the outside passage. And thankfully, this cunning gentleman captured 3 photos of this second tunnel. And you can see straight inside of it, which is a passage that proceeds up and towards the front of the Sphinx and has quite literally been boarded up. And I have to say that the first thing I thought of when I saw these photos is the ground radar image here, which identifies 2 possible cavities within the Sphinx, which are in the same direction that this boarded up tunnel proceeds. Unfortunately, we cannot see much that is beyond the boards, and I cannot tell which direction it goes from there. Perhaps it proceeds into a second tier above or another direction. We just can't tell. But what I do know is that this particular tunnel was not shown or discussed by the world's 2 most renowned Egyptologists, where they specifically stated that there is, quote, nothing underneath, yet they mention nothing in reference to tunnels within the Sphinx itself. Perhaps this would explain why they spent an entire 3 weeks exploring the bowels of the Sphinx, which we can now see includes far more than just an empty, dead-end tunnel. And you know, all of this becomes even more interesting when we consider that there is another vertical shaft at the top of the Sphinx. This is something that I discussed in a video a few years ago, but as you can see here, Zahi Hawass himself shows us a trapdoor on the Sphinx's back which drops straight down. Yet you simply cannot see where it goes from there, but something is now telling me that it likely connects to the hidden tunnel, which we now know leads in the same direction. And for whatever it's worth, Zahi claimed again that there is nothing down here either, just as he claimed that there is nothing under the Sphinx. But I have to say that I am not at all convinced about that, as ground radar has shown multiple anomalies, as you can see from these examples here, which are located under the Sphinx towards the back end, as well as under the Sphinx's left paw, or right paw as you're facing it. But although these photos and videos I shared with you today leave us with many unanswered questions, I have to say that I am thrilled to have personally witnessed and been able to share these details with you. And if you're wondering why others haven't successfully snuck down into this passage and captured pictures or videos sooner, it's related to the fact that this entire area around the Sphinx is off limits unless you have special access permission, which costs thousands of dollars and is overseen by tour guides and armed guards at all times. Everyone else is only able to view the Sphinx from the top of its enclosure. But make no mistake, every one of us has an inherent right as people to see and know the details of our lost ancient past. I don't like secrets, and the reality is that all of us have been kept in the dark on the prior excavations into the Great Sphinx. And regardless if you are a proponent of the academic narrative, an alternative ancient history enthusiast, a history professor, an archaeologist, or believer in ancient aliens, the one thing that we all have in common is that we can now see that all of us have not been shown everything that there is to see or be aware of. Even if this tunnel goes absolutely nowhere and nothing was ever found inside of it, we can't necessarily take that in good faith since we haven't been included in all the details along the way. Because let's not forget.
And so 3 weeks I spent down in the darkness underneath the Great Sphinx.
We searched everywhere, but there is nothing hidden underneath.
A whole 3 weeks, which was done in secrecy, with a literal shroud concealing the excavation the entire time. All of us owe a great bit of gratitude to the brave gentleman that took the risk to climb down into the Sphinx so we were able to see what we were today and become aware of the details that we now know. And you know, it's interesting. I've been long making the case that there truly is a mystery to our lost ancient past, something that many people have adamantly denied. But how can anyone say that any longer when it's now apparent that there are quite literally areas they have never knew existed, and of all places at one of the most famous ancient sites on Earth? And you know what else? These are not the only secrets that's been kept from the public involving ancient Egypt. I do have more to share. However, those are worthy of videos of themselves, so stay tuned for that. But all of that said, the powers that be within Egypt should release all photos and videos of what's inside these tunnels. Because if nothing else, even if there's nothing to see, it will still bring positive light and something fun and exciting to look at to the tourism industry within Egypt itself and to the millions and millions of people that follow this fun topic from around the world. That said, I'm Jimmy. My channel is called Bright Insight. Leave a comment and share what your thoughts are on all of this. It is quite an interesting topic. Also, follow me on Instagram, and if you're interested in supporting me in my endeavors, help support me on Patreon as well. I'll leave links to both in the pinned comment down below. But anyways, I'll close it up there. Thanks for watching. Take care, everyone.